Hidden deep within the fog-covered cliffs of Golden Hills lies one of Jorvik's most mysterious and haunted landmarks, the Marchengast Castle. Once a big fortress, now a decaying relic of a forgotten past, Marchengast is a place where history and legend kind of intertwine. Dark secrets, ghostly figures, and ancient curses surround these stone walls, and today we're going to uncover them all. So get ready guys, it's time to explore the untold story of the Marchengast Castle in Star Stable Online. The summer of 2012, the area known as Golden Hills Valley was released to Star Stable Online. Golden Hills Valley, as the name suggests, has an autumn-themed landscape. It has orange, golden, and red-colored trees, as well as mushrooms in various colors growing throughout the area. Golden Hills Valley is a large area located in the northwest of South New Jorvik County. The region is located through the North Iron Gate, which is located north of the Baroness's riding area. Golden Hills Valley was actually the first region to be added to Star Stable Online's map as an expansion, so this was actually the first new area that was able to be unlocked in Star Stable Online. In as early as 2017, there was a structure that was able to be seen overlooking Golden Hills Valley. This structure is the well-known Marchengast Castle. Though the Marchengast Castle is a well-known landmark in Golden Hills Valley, the true history behind it remains shrouded in mystery, because many people assume that the castle is an ancient medieval stronghold, but records suggest that this castle was actually constructed much more recently, in the 18th century. And despite its relatively late construction, the castle stands on top of foundations that hint at a far older past. So it's basically on top of this older building. An older structure has once occupied this site, and it's so old that it possibly dates back to the earliest settlements in Jorvik. Adding to the mystery is the story of a noble family that is said to have resided within Marchengast's walls for centuries. But little is known about this family. Their name, origin, and ultimate fate have been lost to time. And the reason that we know this is actually because of Luciana, who wrote this in the Jorvik newspaper. The castle is portrayed as being abandoned, but signs show that it's actually not abandoned, as light shines from within the castle at night, which definitely does hint at the fact that someone does actually live there. The castle itself got an update in November of 2019, and before the update it looked like this, but after the update it changed to be a little bit more accessible and it looked like this. And that is when things started going for the castle really, or things kind of started winding up. Before the update of the castle, it was kind of just a landmark with no mentions anywhere. Even the name of the castle was discussed upon, so basically no one even knew what the name of the castle was. Now we know that the name of the castle is Marchengast Castle, and the word Marchen is German for fairy tale, and this really fits in with the castle's looks, as it is kind of fairy tale like, and Gast is an English word that has several meanings, all of which refer to something being strange, abnormal, or frightening. So Marchengast therefore mean strange fairy tale, or frightening fairy tale. Formerly, the only proof of the castle being called Marchengast Castle was the sign pointing to the still blocked off road leading up to the castle. However, now in newer times, it has since been referred to this name by NPCs and quests, and also Star Stable themselves has referred to the Marchengast Castle as the Marchengast Castle. However, prior to the castle being named, some players believe that the castle was actually Claymore Castle or McKinney Castle from Star Stable The Autumn Rider. As the area is unreleased, we have yet to explore the inside of the castle, but technically we are able to get inside with glitches and stuff, but there isn't anything there, much like Fort Maria before it was released to us. Fort Maria is also a very good example to compare the Marchengast Castle with, as What the inside of the castle is really unpredictable, because as of now we have very little information about what the Marchengast castle really is for, and we might not know before future quests, and we don't know its actual size yet except for what we were able to see from the outside. To find out a little more about the castle, we can look into the Star Stable files, so the game files, and I have this information from starstabletheories.home.blog, so go visit their site if you would like to read more about this. But yeah, anyways, interestingly, within the game files of Star Stable Online, Marchengast Castle isn't actually labeled as Marchengast Castle at all. Instead, it has the name of Ancient King's Keep. This detail raises a number of questions about the true identity and past of this castle. Could Ancient King's Keep have been the castle's original name, long before it became known to players as Marchengast Castle? To me, it definitely seems possible, especially when considering its location along Old King's Road, which is the name of the path that leads up to the castle. And as far as I know, the path's name hasn't changed, even though the castle name has changed. But yeah, this brings even more questions to the surface, such as like, who was this ancient king? What was his role in Jorvik's history? And when and why did Jorvik transform from a monarchy to whatever form of governance it has today? I don't even know what ruling system they have, but as far as current lore goes, there is little to no official information about a royal bloodline in Jorvik. The disappearance of the monarchy, if it ever existed, is kind of like just an unsolved mystery. Who knows, maybe it was like overthrown, abandoned, or just quietly dissolved as the island's people turn towards a different way of life. Could maybe this like lost royal legacy be connected to other ancient structures, secret societies, or like some hidden relics? I think that the idea that Marchengast Castle could have once been the King's Keep opens up a whole new layer of potential history and story threads in Star Stable's world. Because what do you mean the castle was named Ancient King's Keep? Like, that name has to mean something, whether it means that a king lived there or it was some sort of building for some sort of king, the king of Jorvik possibly. But yeah, the only type of king I can think of in Jorvik's history is Jan Jarl, which is kind of the Christopher Columbus of Jorvik. If you don't know who Jan Jarl is, he's basically, he was the Lord of Jorvik for a while. He's the one who quote-unquote discovered it, even though there was already druids there, but he came to Jorvik in October 1218, which is pretty long ago at this point, but he ruled the island for 45 years, and he also claimed the land of Jorvik as his own, and he came to Jorvik and said, "I am Jan Jarl, son of Yor. This land is now my land, and I name it Jorvik." And so he basically, I guess, colonized Jorvik, or he made it his land. As far as I know, there is nothing mentioned about him living in this castle, or him having anything to do at all with this castle. But anyways, it's the only kind of like king I can think of in Jorvik's history. But anyways, this is all very like prehistoric information about Jorvik that isn't really that important, but it can help us see ties that this castle has with the ancient history of Jorvik, because that actually does matter to us now a little bit. According to a post on starstabletheories.home.blog, there are some really interesting details hidden in the area of the castle that suggests that it could be tied into Star Stable's main story quests. Scattered around the area are these rocks that look like broken runestones kind of, and what makes them especially intriguing is that they seem to be infused with Pandoric magic, and this could be a sign that something important is going on here, connected to the world of Pandoria and the deeper lore of Jorvik. What's even more fascinating is that several of the runes appear to fit together like pieces of a puzzle, so if you take your time to imagine how they would align, they seem to form the image of a fjord-like horse. And this has led some players to believe that this potentially is a new area that might be connected to the Culters, which is a group associated with the fjord horses in Jorvik, which previously departed from the storyline. And I already made a video of the culture, so if that's interesting to you, then go check my video out on that. And that whole thing also kind of intertwines with my video that I made about Mystic Valley, so watch that as well if that is interesting to you. But anyways, there's also a larger piece of runestone which is split down the middle, which seems to depict 2 of the 4 guardians from the Star Stable story. And the theory suggests that the other scattered runestones represent the remaining 2 guardians, and together they surround this kind of mountain where the castle is standing. Players have actually managed to glitch into the castle, as I said, but it's important to note that this is risky and not recommended, as it could lead to a game ban. This blog also discovered a mysterious platform inside of the castle, and interestingly, this platform looks very similar to the one that is found in the Guardian's Dale, which is a place already known for its strong ties to ancient magic and the Guardians of Aideen. And this similarity adds even more weight to the idea that this castle and its surroundings are going to be very important to the future of the game's story. Earlier this year, the magic courses Ryume and Ka were introduced, and alongside their release, a news post was published telling us a fairy tale centered around these 2 mystical horses. And the tale offers a glimpse into their past, revealing that they actually once lived at the Marchengast castle. So these 2 horses come from Marchengast castle, that's where they live. And interestingly, one of the horses makes a comment about how the echoes of the Marchengast castle has grown too loud. And this remark seems to hint at something deeper. Could it suggest that the castle was once lively and like full of people and there's like a bunch of things happening there, but now the castle isn't as active anymore, it's not the same as it was before, so therefore there's like echoes? That's kind of my theory. It's a subtle but important detail that kind of shows to the fact that there is a forgotten majesty and kind of adds sadness to the story about Ryume and Ka, leaving us to wonder what might happen to the castle and the people who live there. As I said, we know that there was kind of like a royal family of sorts that lived there before. So yeah, although I don't really like Star Stable, the stories that they come up with sometimes, I actually think that this makes sense, and with what I'm about to mention later, this actually gives us a lot of hints about where the future of Marchengast Castle actually lays. So let's talk a little bit about the medieval camp. In the story of Ryume and Ka, the horses eventually find their way down to the Middle Age arena, located in the Forgotten Fields, and medieval camp is kind of like a mysterious and somewhat like out of place area in the game. It's like a medieval battleground slash camp, which is pretty hidden away from the main paths, and as I said, it's in the Forgotten Fields, so it's a little bit away from like normal civilization. And what is intriguing is that some players believe that this arena was originally meant to be a part of Marchengast Castle's location, but was later moved to the Forgotten Fields during development. And the theory suggests that the Middle Age arena's design, atmosphere, and historical vibe would have made perfect sense inside or near the Marchengast castle, which in itself is an ancient fortress that has ties to Jorvik's forgotten history. And players speculate that for one reason or another, the arena was relocated to where it is now, but its original connection to Marchengast still lingers in the game's story and the world design. And although this has never been confirmed by Star Stable, this is simply just a theory, I think it actually makes perfect sense. And even though the arena wasn't meant to be there, I think that the Middle Age arena definitely has some sort of tie to the Marchengast castle. Don't know what it is yet, but I guess we'll have to just see about that. Many people believe that these like medieval elements, the arena, the camp, and the horses and the castle are slowly being tied together through the game's ongoing lore updates and quests. Some Star Stable players, including myself, actually, as I said, find this theory plausible. In the past, I feel like we've had a lot of mentions of the Marchengast castle, so it would make sense if these like kind of medieval elements later revealed to be a part of a larger history that also involves the Marchengast castle. The thing is that this also supports the idea that Marchengast castle is more than just an old castle. It actually also might be a key location connected to the Guardians of Aideen, reign, or even Jorvik's lost monarchy, as I said. As Star Stable continues to expand the world and the lore, it wouldn't really be surprising to see these places connected in future quests or major story events. I think that no matter what, Marchengast Castle is definitely a place that Star Stable is planning on developing. We just don't really know what for yet. And there we have it, the eerie, fascinating, and still unsolved story of the Marchengast Castle. And this place, guys, is just really packed with mystery. Is the Marchengast Castle truly the ancient King's Keep? Was this actually the home of the King of Jorvik? Or is it hiding something even older, or something relating to Pandoria maybe? I just can't wait to see what Star Stable is going to do with this story and what is going to happen next, and you can bet that I'm gonna be here covering everything as it happens, so don't worry, I'm going to stay updated. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Jorvik's hidden history, make sure to leave a like and drop your favorite theory in the comments. I would love to hear that, and I hope you subscribe for more Star Stable lore, mysteries, and updates. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good day/night, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!